Hi YouTube, it is your girl Lexi, and I know you may see a pillar of smoke, and I just turned off my TV so I could do this review, but I know it's been a very long time since you guys have seen me. There has been a lot going on in my life, a lot of personal things. I'm not a very engaging person in that aspect. So to those who, I don't want to say that I have shut out, but to those who I have not been as cordial to, I'm sorry, but I am an introvert. I shut down and shut out, and I'm just now learning to open up that shell once again. But I did want to come on, and I'm sorry for the shirt that's super baggy and the hair bonnet. I'm going to be doing another video right after this, so you're going to see a completely different Lexi, which is so funny. It'll be the same time, but it'll be Sans eye mask and Sans hair bonnet. I'm just pre-treating in both areas, but I really wanted to do this review, and the reason why I wanted to do this review is I know a lot of people, and if you guys see the smoke that is billowing, that is the sage that I am burning. And it's so funny, the sage has not burned like this in quite some time, so that tells me that there is a lot of impurities, a lot of ungodliness that is trying to attack me, and the sage is purifying it. So when y'all see that smoke come towards me, let it be. Anyway, I wanted to do the review on the new series Pose. I know a lot of people have opinions about it, and they have opinions based on, I don't even want to say fact, I want to say on preconceived notions, meaning prejudices. So I'm going to be honest, I had that same kind of review, I was like, or opinion, before I watched the first episode last week. And I'm going to be honest with you, I watched the first episode like 4 or 5 times now, because it spoke to me, and it didn't speak to me in the sense where people are like, ooh, okay girl, you're spilling your own tea. No, it spoke to me in the sense of, it depicts a lot about our culture, and if you're watching this, you will understand the word when you say minority, our culture. And so I'm going to get into it. So Pose is about the 1980s, latter 1980s ballroom scene. And the ballroom scene is something where the LGBTQIA plus, yes, I will be as politically correct as possible. This scene is a scene where they get to express who they are. And when I say who they are, whether they are dancers, whether they are future models, whether they are actors or actresses, you can go to these ballroom scenes and turn out. And the 80s were legendary for it. If anyone has Netflix, and I'm pretty sure everybody does because nobody followed the Monique boycott, please look up Paris is Burning. It is currently on there. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I watched Paris is Burning years ago, and I did not have an appreciation for Paris is Burning until I watched Pose. I had the appreciation in a sense with the music and the scene and the trying to understand something that I was not a part of and could never be a part of. We had, if you ever watched Paris is Burning, it is a documentary about the ballroom scene as it is happening from 1987 to 1990. And with the individuals involved, we have people like Venus Extravaganza. And, oh goodness, she was from the House of Saint Laurent. And I'm seeing her face, and I'm so sorry that I can't remember her name right now. But there were two individuals who were going through transition. They were transitioning from men to women. And when you looked at them on their face, even without makeup, they embodied feminism. They embodied being a woman. And I know I'm going to lose subscribers for saying, I get it. I get it in that sense of, everybody says God doesn't make any mistakes. You're absolutely right. He doesn't. So if he puts you in the mindset of something, maybe that's the right way. That's all I'll say on that. But if you ever watch it, it talks about the youth. At the beginning, there are two Hispanic boys. One is 13, one is 15. They're out at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The one boy says, I don't have a mother. And the black guy who's interviewing him says, everybody has a mother or you wouldn't be here. And he goes, I don't have a mother. I'm staying with friends. And that's going to get to my pose review, the first episode. So this is episode 1. Episode 2 will come up just like that, guys. But watching that documentary got me to try to understand that culture more, because, you know, you're raised in the church and you're raised to think certain things, and I'm going to be honest, you are raised to think a certain way. It is up to you to go and do the research yourself. And that was the one thing that both God and my mother gave. I do not put my mother on a pedestal as God, never will. But God gave us all the choice. My mother always enforced it. Much to her own chagrin, if you ask her, she hates the fact that I'm always, to this day, going back and back and back and back. But that being said, I chose to try to understand something that I didn't understand. And then that way, when I spoke on it, and I spoke on my discernment for it, or my acceptability for it, I had facts to back it. So, okay. Homework, guys. If you have YouTube, watch Paris is Burning. Even for those who are like, I don't like that scene, I don't want to see fornication. You're not going to see fornication. You're going to see art. You're going to see embodiment. You're going to see passion. Honey, you're going to see some of your fave supermodels in it. Let's just be 100. That being said, let's get back to pose. Okay, we are 8 minutes and 22 seconds in. I'm just now talking about the pose review. Even though the first episode is called Pilot, I am going to call it A Mother's Love. The reason why I'm going to call it A Mother's Love is because of what happened. We saw different aspects of motherhood throughout the episode. So the episode opens where you see a young man who's doing the Vogue. Most people will understand Vogue from Madonna. She made it famous, but actually it was Willie Ninja. Shout out again to Paris is Burning and Paris Dupree, who made voguing what it is known as today. Madonna just made it commercial. So he opens it up. He's voguing. We see some younger individuals. And an elder, I'll say elder because she was probably late 30s, early 40s woman doing her makeup. So we open up the scene and it is a house. It is the house of abundance. And the house mother's name is Electra. She's talking about their recent defeat. And she's the first kind of mother we see. One of her legendary children, Blanca, who will review another type of motherhood later in this episode, gives a idea for redemption. And if you guys see it, the sage smoke, I have not moved it. It is coming towards me now. So that's a sign for me. So anyway, Miss Electra scoffs, we're going to use the word scoffs, at Blancas' idea for redemption for the house to do a walk of royalty, because she said we should walk in royalty, we should walk it as a house. That is Blanca. So they all ha ha ha, they laugh, or as the gay community would say, they kiki. So then Electra turns around and says, we will be the royal house of abundance. The other children, that's what they're called in these houses, admire this, they relish it. And Blanca's like, wait, that's my idea. That's like the fourth idea you've stolen this week. What is going on? Electra is like, just because you have ingredients does not mean you know how to put it together. So Electra shows the mother of, I'm the mother, I'm the last say so. I can take what you say and I can regurgitate it and it will be fact. And I think we all know people like that, or we know some of us may have mothers like that. So that was the first mother. Cut scene, we go to another lead role in this. The lead role is Damon. Damon is a 17-year-old African-American boy. He's cute in the face, but we open up with a scene with him in ballet. He's dancing, he's feeling the music, he runs home, he puts in the tape of Donna Summer's on the radio, he's dancing, his daddy comes in, questions not only what he's doing, but his sexuality, says, oh, my friends are laughing at me, they saw you come out of ballet class. He proceeds to beat him. And when I say beat him, he beat him. He beat him with a belt. His mother being Damon's natural mother, hears the beating, runs in, but the father, as he's beating Damon, is saying, your mother said I should let you be creative. Your mother said this. I told her I was being too soft. Okay, the mother runs in, pulls the father off from beating him. Now, I want to give that disclaimer. He beat him with the belt, but he still beat him. The baby was coughing. Y'all know that kind of, well, if you were born anytime between 50 to 1984, y'all know that type of beating. Anyway, mother comes in. Father says he's gay because Damon admitted to being gay. He says, I don't want him in my house. He throws him out of the house. The mother comes out, and believe it or not, it was over a magazine. The magazine, and they never show the interior of the magazine, but the exterior had a white guy who was buff on it. And it was labeled as a gay magazine. So who knows what was on the interior? I don't know. I'm not going to ask, not going to look into it. So the mother basically says, you're going to go to hell. You need to repent. God punishes gay people. I believe she's referring to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. I have my own take on that, considering I have been to the Vatican, but that is another video for another day. So basically, baby is out on his street, but he finds his way to New York. Meanwhile, Royal House of Abundance, they go back, they rob a museum in the 80s. And I saw a couple other reviews, And I still wanted to do this review because they were talking about, oh, it's so far-fetched, blah, blah, blah. Actually, no. In the 80s, the museums were really laxed. You could do what you want. You just really couldn't take pictures and destroy a lot of the stuff. I.e. being, I went to the Louvre, and I'm not saying that to be like extravagant with my upbringing. I was fortunate enough to have parents who were in the military, who were stationed overseas. And so as a little girl, I got to go to Paris, and I actually went to the Louvre when I was 8 years old. I was born in 82, so this would have been 1990. I saw the Mona Lisa, and I'm telling this story, and then I'm going to go right back into the review to give kind of a arc to it, to the likelihood of what happened in this episode. So I went to the Louvre, and I remember that everybody was crowding. And when I say everybody, there were hundreds of people trying to crowd around the small painting. The actual original painting of the Mona Lisa, at least in 1990, was quite small. Not tiny portrait, but no more than like 11 by 14. That being said, you could not take pictures of it. That was their one ask. You could breathe in there, or you could do whatever, but you could not take a picture because the flash would deteriorate the original painting in the canvas. Now, fast forward to 2016, and no, I don't have my nails on, but they will be on tomorrow. Fast forward to 2016 when I went back to Paris, and honey, flash, 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 flash. And what that means is that's not the original painting, but again, another story for another day. I say this because a lot of the reviews for Pose were like, oh my God, they saw them, or they showed them stealing out of a museum. That's false. Actually, back in the 80s, until the great heist that stole like $1.4 billion worth of merchandise, and was actually from the Louvre in early 1992, museums were pretty lax because nobody wanted to steal from a museum. It is what it is. Anyway, so the legendary House of Abundance, which Electra, an antagonist of the show, stole a bunch of clothes with her children. They're running down the street, but they only stole the clothes so they could walk in the ball as authentic House of Royalty. That's the funny part of it. So, of course, they walk the ball. They win the ball. They win the grand prize. And here's the thing about the ballrooms. The ballrooms, they win money. So this was a source of income for this community back in the 80s. And I don't understand why all the people who are doing reviews don't give these facts. The same idea, because in this show, you will see people like Angel. Angel is a person who is known as a street walker. She is also part of the House of Abundance, and she shortly into, well, not shortly into the episode, but later into the first episode, she goes to the House of Evangelista, which is Blancas. I'll get into it. But Angel Abundance, we're going to call her Angel Abundance right now. She was a prostitute. And in the community, because they were shunned for who they were and shunned for their sexuality and preference and what they look like, they were forced to do prostitution, or a safe way to make money was doing the ballrooms. These are things that I learned by watching not only this episode, but going back and trying to understand. Anyway, so after they win the House of Royalty walk, the grand prize, the cops bust in, arrest them. Great. Fast forward a little bit, we've gone through everybody's story. Blanca, who started the show as kind of like the freedom fighter, is seen in a hallway with presumably, we're going to say presumably because we don't know, gay men. A gay man comes out of a doctor's office. He's crying, and it could be his spouse, friend, brother. We don't know who this person is. Holds him as he cries. Blanca is there by herself. Blanca walks into the doctor's office, and Blanca finds out that she's HIV positive. The show is centered in 1987 through 1990 again. So at this time, HIV was a death sentence. So Blanca's in there by herself. She toughens up. She says, hey, you know, I already knew this, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. The doctor tries to give her some reassurance, but you can see the pain. Blanca decides right then and, well, not right then and there, but after talking to the MC of the ballrooms, his name is Pray Tell, but after talking to the MC, she decides to open up her own house. She finds her own lodging, her place of stay. Now, here's the thing that we learn about Blanca. We don't know Blanca's past, but we know that Blanca is working in a nail salon. We see flashbacks of a nail salon. So she's getting her money legitly. So she gets a rental property. But she goes in, and here's another case of motherhood. And that's why my review is called A Mother's Love. Blanca, or Electra, finds out somehow, some way. She says she has spies, whatever. But Blanca finds out somehow, some way that... Electra finds out somehow, some way that Blanca is looking to leave the house, the fold, the house of abundance. She chastises her, says, oh, you need to repay me as a mother. You owe me. I took you in. I gave you food and energy and life when you didn't have anything. And Blanca's like, no, as a mother, you should be like, it's time for you to fly. I support you. You will always have a home. Electra's like, no, bitch, repay me. Or repay me. So Blanca walks out in the heat, blah, blah, blah. Blanca then, we talked about Damon. So Blanca then meets Damon on the streets in the park of New York. He found his way to New York somehow, some way. We don't get the backstory of it at this time. Damon is dancing in the streets, something he knows. Blanca teaches Damon the way of the world as it is the gay ballroom scene. Damon's like, oh, I'm not like you. And she's like, hey, and that's going to be the title of the next review, which is going to be uploaded shortly, which is classism. She's like, hey, everybody has to look down on somebody. Of course, gay men are going to look down on transgenders. So, he opens up his eyes. Damon subsequently is still sleeping on the park bench. He gets his backpack stolen, which is all his worldly possessions. And instead of selling his body, this baby finds Blanca. He goes to Blanca's house. Blanca accepts him. He is the first child of the house of Evangelista. It's a really heartwarming story because she shows us her indoctrines of motherhood. So everything happens. All of this stuff happens. We see some banter. Angel meets a white man. And the white man just got a job at Trump Towers. But he's been, and Angel says, you've been driving around forever, driving by the pier for 2 months, but never stopped. So he's been peeping Angel for a while. There's something about Angel. There is a scene. I'm just going to be pre-warning. There is a scene where Angel drops her panties, but you don't see anything. And they make reference to Angel being pre-op. That's what the term is, so pre-operational. Meaning she still has her manhood. But you don't see anything sexual. There's no sex scene. But you can tell there's a connection between these two. And that is the love knows no bounds. So, overall, I am going to be doing reviews on this series. It's like an 8-episode series. I hope they bring it back for more. But I'm definitely going to be doing reviews on it. And the reason why I'm going to be doing reviews is it is very poignant in our society. It's very poignant in our culture. But more importantly, it teaches us everything. So I just ask that anybody who watches this video in its entirety or halfway through or skips to the end, whatever it is that you do, please watch this initial episode at least. Don't go episode 3 or 4 whenever you click on this, but do episode 1 and then make a choice. And then if you're inquisitive and you don't understand, please do the research because that's important. The difference between, and this is my closing statement, the difference between being a bigot and being someone of conscious mind is this. A bigot does not understand what they hate. Someone of a conscious mind has done the research and knows it in and out and has made a choice. Always remember that. So, light and love, guys. It's been a while. My face looks full. It's that time of the month and I am retaining water like crazy. So, I know, but just some fun facts. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to rate. I don't want to say like, unlike, guess what? If you click the button, it does something. So to that special little person out there who keeps giving me my only one unlike on my videos, and then that one time you got your friends to do it too, so I had 7 unlikes. Guess what, guys? You still did something. So when you click on my videos, it still does something for the positive for me. So stop it. Anyway, guys, so light and love, lots of energy. My sage is still burning, but it's still burning up. I am going to take these off, rub in the gel, put on a cream mask, and be back for the next episode. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.